All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. The Huskies were ready to go this morning. The dog team got me over here today.
Yeah, like
barely.
The Iditarod.
It is the Iditarod. Be careful, folks.
Yes.
It's dicey.
It is. It's not great.
Take some precaution.
It's going to be like this for a while.
Oh, we're in the deep freeze, brother.
Oh, yeah.
There's not going to be any. You're not coming out of this for a long, long time.
Listen, if this is what it took, though, to get that beautiful head of hair unleashed at Cleveland Browns Daily, I'm all for it. Look at Baco Nation. Everybody in Baco Nation's going wild right now, knowing that there's a sighting.
His stock is so high. His stock is so high right now. It's absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, the Baco and the Davidson are just the only stocks going up right now, by the way.
Yeah, everybody else.
Not great.
You watch your hyperbole in these moments coming off of what we just witnessed.
Okay.
Is that the best weekend of football in your lifetime that you've ever seen?
I mean, right now, of course I feel that way.
I actually put thought to it. I was trying to think back, last night when it was all over and then through this morning, and I was trying to think if there was a weekend where that what we just saw could be matched. There was so much going on, and the last taste in your mouth was so extraordinary that I think we even forget some of what happened previous.
Of course.
Because you're just left with this supernova on a Sunday night.
It was perfect, and it was the game that you wanted to see. It was the game that was hyped. It was the game that, where everybody thought this was going to be the game of the weekend, and it turns out every single game ended on the last play of the game.
Right.
4 in a row. So I don't know that you've seen that.
I can't imagine.
The best playoff game that I've ever been to live, other than our demolishing of the Steelers for obvious reasons last year, was I was at the game at Candlestick. It was Niners Saints, Alex Smith, and it was just an absolute track meet back and forth. And I think there were like 3 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. Same thing, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Yeah.
And the Niners won that one, and so that was obviously a pretty cool one. But I don't know if the rest of the weekend was of similar quality. I can't imagine that you've had 4 games that have finished on the last play in a playoff weekend ever. I know that you had. It was, Josh Allen does not get to go on, and he's thrown 9 touchdowns and 12 incompletions in 2 rounds of the playoffs. He and Mahomes, first time ever, the 2 quarterbacks both had ratings over 123 in the same playoff game.
Yeah.
They were ridiculous. So, no, I think you would have to craft an argument around it. And look, let's be fair. For a time, the Bengals-Titans game wasn't the most entertaining. For a long period of time, the Niners-Packers wasn't the most entertaining. And then, honestly, for about 3 quarters, the Bucs game was hard to watch.
Yeah, the finishes, I guess, is what you're left
with. But this one was perfection.
That Sunday night game, it's so interesting. I came away with it when it was over last night. I came away with it because I knew Mahomes was capable of that. I'm not sure I knew he could go 13 seconds and get a field goal.
We'll talk about that.
We'll get into all of that and some of the boneheadedness and all of that. Josh Allen's second to last drive. And it's crazy because it felt like it should have been the last drive, like in an old
2-minute one.
The 2-minute drive for Josh Allen, I think, is the most impressive drive from a singular individual that I can remember. And again, recency bias, acknowledging it, but he had to do it with both his legs and his arm.
Yep,
he was untackleable. They pick up 2 or 3 fourth downs on that drive. One was a 4th and a long, and then he hit the bomb to where the corner fell down. And you say to yourself, I don't know that I've ever seen a more impressive singular drive by a quarterback in that moment with all the pressure. Everybody remembers Diggs standing on the field last year at Arrowhead watching it going, we're taking care of this next year. All of that pressure is on him, and he's got multiple 4th downs, and he's perfect. And he looked like John Elway, honestly. I know that's a curse word around here, but that's what he looks like.
No, he does.
He looked like John Elway in his prime. And for the kids who remember Elway handing to Terrell Davis, that's what Elway looked like in the late 80s, was how Josh Allen looked like last night.
Tess would like you to acknowledge that he's the first person to ever make that comparison.
No. First of all, it's not correct, Tess. I'm sure you're not. So you have that. So I actually tweeted, in parentheses, I wrote, and acknowledging that Mahomes is probably going to go score right now. And then they did, because he threw it to a cheat code who waved at people while he scored. The speed of that is...
Okay, so they're playing man 2.
Yeah.
He catches the inward breaking route, runs away,
The ball's a BB.
beats the angle from Poyer trying to come up and make tackle, runs away. Now, at the time that he flashes the peace sign, if you look at that photo from the side, Milano, I think it was 58, is 3 yards down the he's ahead of him.
Ahead of him.
And he's piecing him as he runs right in there. Now, this is just a quick tangent. They've got to just eliminate these, or it can only be used in cases of just extreme insanity taunting where it's like totally bonkers. Like you're over somebody's face and gesticulating over them and whatever. I thought the Bucs-Rams game was tarnished by the officials and the tauntings.
I agree.
And this one was the most clear taunting ever. I'm so glad they didn't call it. It would have been – could you imagine if they said no touchdown, you're back 15 yards now from the spot of the foul?
No.
So at least they had the wherewithal there. But, in the Hockey League game, dude, it's not about you. It's not. That
guy's got to get. He's got to get gone.
He's got to be.
You can't.
Tom Brady.
I know Dad's been around. Everyone's got the guns. You're out.
Okay,
you got to get out.
And Ndamukong Suh did when you watch that back. Stafford absolutely kicked him in the nether regions, or at least extended his leg to give a little business. And Suh wasn't taunting him. Suh was saying, "I know what you did. I didn't like it very much. And if you do it again, you're not going to like what I do."
That's right.
15 yards, and that extended a drive.
Yeah.
The Brady one. He's bleeding because there was helmet-to-helmet contact. Now, should it be a penalty? No, in my mind, but that's the way that the rules are and the game's legislated. You as an official have to just eat it. Like, he's screaming at you. He's bleeding from his face. Then so what? Like, do you need – oh, he was talking to me aggressively. Okay, so what?
So what?
Like, this is the divisional round of the playoffs. That's Tom Brady. You got to understand the moments there, but I'm glad they didn't call it taunting. But Tyreek Hill's speed – was just on that one was stunning. And you're talking about this is after the Bills go 17 plays, 75 yards,
That's the
7 minutes.
That's the drive.
That's
Allen
the drive.
picked up at least 2 4th downs, maybe 3.
I got the full play-by-play. There he is. The gloves. He's got his workman.
Prepared.
The
his
ranch
work
gloves. He's got his work gloves.
Oh, his ranch gloves.
You got to. You got to have them. It's snowy
what a time
out there,
to be
folks.
alive with the ranch
So
gloves.
he converts 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 6, 4th and 4, 3rd and 6, 4th and 13. I think people forget that touchdown was 4th and 13. Then hits Diggs on an insane pass for the 2-point conversion. A great catch by Diggs as well, where it rolls out, extends plays out to the left. Chiefs answer that by going 75 yards in 52 seconds.
That's right.
With the Tyreek Hill touchdown. And then they answer it going 75 yards in 49 seconds when you've got, big play to Davis over the middle. The touchdown, Davis's route on that was just filthy. And then they go 44 yards in 13 seconds, which is just.
Let's go to that.
Okay, let's get right to it.
You are.
Okay.
I said this to my wife who was, this was just, and when the ratings come out, did you guys hear the early stuff from Kansas City? 90 share in Kansas City. 90 share. 90% of the televisions on in Kansas City were watching this last night. I've never heard of that ever. 90?
Nothing for anything.
For anything. Like maybe the moon landing. I don't know.
It's a long time ago.
That type of historical thing would what require every television set in a town, 9 out of 10, being on the same thing. There's no precedent for that. My guess is Buffalo's similar. My guess is this is about a 55 million people to situation is what you're into on Sunday night by the time all is said and done. Because this was also a social media moment. It was always like, oh, you're not watching this? You better find a TV. I'm sure you had 1,000 people texting you about this game. Get in front, as if I was watching anyway, of course, but everybody wanted to talk about it. 13 seconds, I say to my wife, look at how nervous McDermott is. Like, he took 2 timeouts to set up his defense. Mahomes had to go 50 yards?
Yeah, 44.
44 yards. They had no timeouts.
And
they had 1 timeout?
They had
one timeout.
They had all 3.
Oh,
Kansas
that's
City
right.
Had all 3
because Buffalo scored too quickly almost. They didn't make them use the timeouts. There was 13 seconds left.
13 seconds left.
So he goes 44 yards in 13 seconds. And, just remember last week Dallas couldn't run 1 play in that amount of time.
Exactly.
He ran 2. The play, it's so much about – it's the whole thing coming together. They have Tyreek Hill. His acceleration.
Who had just gone to the
house. And he had the punt return before that.
Yep.
That was a touchdown saving, game saver, where they had to kick a field goal. So they run that play off to the left, and I'm still going, well, they're not there yet.
Right.
They're still not there. They still got a ways to go. And then they put that extra second on the clock to give them 8 seconds.
And how's Kelsey that open?
I have no idea.
And then how's Kelsey open to get the touchdown to end the game in overtime? All right,
that was a great throw.
Go back
to where we want.
And this is where I go back to. You don't need what every football team needs is a competitive Madden player to be in the ear of the head coach as soon as you get around 4 minutes to go in a half. Because anybody, and this isn't even, I guarantee 98% of the listening audience who may not be competitive Madden players would have told you, you must make them use clock on this kickoff. Kicking the ball out of the end zone is absolutely absurd. And so what you would want to do is high kick it down to about the 10. And then if they opt to fair catch it and not use any time, great. Now they've got it. You've just added 15 yards to what they have to do. And yards are time because it just takes time to do these things. Or they're going to have to take 3, 4, or 5 seconds running this thing back.
Yeah.
And the fact that you just kick it out and say, here, no, just go right to the 75, no problem, is crazy to me. So I thought that was one of those things where they put themselves in a bad spot. And that was, I think you have a kid who's, like I said, 15-year-old who plays Madden for a living.
Yeah.
He's going to say, yeah, absolutely, don't let them do this.
Yeah.
Because they are like Madden.
Yes.
They're like, it's like that game was like actually playing Madden where you can just throw it and a minute is not 13 seconds isn't too little time. You boom, boom, and you're down the field near in field goal range. Big time kick by Butker under the circumstances as well. But that was, I think, that is going to haunt them for forever. And you think about the design. First of all, you mentioned the first play, which was to Tyreek Hill, which they get 19 yards off of a wide receiver screen because they know they're so deep and they kind of run the bunch and use it as a shuttle, and he's able to get because he didn't have to get out of bounds. And they were actually playing, it felt to me like they were playing a defense that was guarding the boundary more than they really needed to just play straight up. Like the timeouts are out of bounds. Like there's only so many plays they can run. It
was such a unique circumstance. And that's why McDermott was taking those timeouts to try to get everybody on the same page, because usually when you're in that circumstance, you're right, you're guarding boundary. Them having 3 timeouts, having just given up the lead, you just don't ever see that.
And then, and the Andy Reid line, when it's Grim be the Grim Reaper, incredible if that really happened. And it sounds like it did. That's just an incredible thing.
I don't care if it did or not.
It's awesome.
It's truth now.
Yeah, it's right.
It's not a lie if you believe it. I believe it. And with that kid at quarterback, you can do anything. You can just do anything. The brilliance of the game and the brilliance of the play of the two quarterbacks, you mentioned the decision on McDermott to kick it, to have them kick it out of bounds instead of kicking it inbounds. It also makes us forget, Andy Reid with one of the all-time stupefying decisions to put a tight end under center in motion, the most dangerous human being on the planet playing quarterback, out from under center to run a tight end option the opposite way. My God, what have we has anyone stopped anybody in this thing? Like, let the kid throw it. They also didn't go for it on fourth. I mean, it was just, there was all these stupefying decisions from a coaching perspective, and yet the game was so brilliant. Now, this goes to this question. This game's over at the coin flip, and everybody knows it.
Yes, of course. Of course. They got to fix the rules. So my proposal.
Let's have it.
My proposal is each team gets one possession from their own 25.
Okay.
So first
one possession or amount of, you're going to put a play cap on it, or one possession?
One possession.
Normally governed.
Okay. From your own 25. If the first team goes and they get stopped or whatever, now if there's like a pick six or a walk-off or a turnover, you get the ball right
Changes
there.
Possession.
You get the ball. Yeah. But otherwise, it's at the 25. They go, they get a touchdown, they get a field goal, whatever. The other team gets a chance to match it. And then you would do kind of like college, flip it. And I would go each time I'd get closer. So like the second time you'd start at the 50s, and then you go down until the point that you're down there in the red zone or whatever, and then it's just you got to go and finish it out. And after the first touchdowns, if there was touchdown, all 2-point conversions, mandatory. But both teams need to touch the ball.
This is where I'm at. And this happened in 2019, actually, to the Chiefs. Remember, in the AFC Championship game, where Brady got the ball. They went and won, and the Chiefs are going, boy, it would have been nice for us to get Patrick Mahomes the ball once. Didn't happen, and the Brady and Belichick and the Patriots moved on. So I've thought about this a lot. The one thing I think a lot of people don't want is 79-72. So this is what happens in the college game. I think an easy solution for that is to just turn the stats off. Like, just turn it off. You don't need the passing yards and touchdowns. You're playing football, but it's not being statistically accumulated. So I think that's one thing. I think the other thing that you can do, if you don't like the college thing, is go back to the very first football you played. And I think of the boys right now playing CYO football. So you get 4 plays from the 40, 4 plays from the 20. That's it. Everybody's on the 20-yard line with 4 plays. Use them however you want. Just keep doing that until there's a discrepancy. I don't think it would take that long.
It wouldn't take that long.
4 from the 20 is the 10 a little too close. You get into too many downs. Nobody wants games going 6 hours. 4 plays from the 20, you're going to get solutions. You're going to get a missed field goal. You're going to get a team scoring a touchdown. The other one can't. I think that can give them what they want, but you can't have a situation. And I know everyone's going, oh, well, they have a defense. Get a stop. Man, this whole league is set up for offensive explosion.
Yeah.
Everything is set up for offensive explosion. You saw 2 guys playing at a level of which, frankly, has never been seen with both of them, both quarterbacks, ever. And the idea that Josh Allen played the way he played and didn't get another to see the ball again after watching Mahomes go 13 seconds, 44 yards for game time, and he never got it again. He thought he won the game twice. That 70-play, 7-minute drive, thought he won it. Thought he won it a second time. Thought he won it the second time. Well, he won 13 seconds.
13
Certainly
seconds.
we've won it now. Nope. Right back. I feel like you got to make sure both guys. This is easy to fix. If you're worried about the stats, turn them off. 4 plays from the 20. Your idea, that's fine too. But there has to be a solution where both teams touch the football.
Yes. I think that's exactly right. And I think maybe you could do a hybrid of it. You could start off with kind of what I was saying, where each team gets a 75-yard drive, period. Whatever they produce out of that. And then if it needs
you were going
to,
from the other 25.
Yeah, the other 25.
Oh, I thought you were saying 25 in.
Like football.
You're
No.
going 75 yards.
Yeah.
Full drive. Okay.
Full
I like
drive.
that.
And both teams get a full drive.
Yeah, 1 full drive. I like that. I thought you were saying 25 and in. But there's a middle ground that you got to find, because that was, for as sensational as that was really
Anticlimactic.
And the celebration, folks, when they win the toss, everybody knows what just happened.
Yeah, the game was over.
It's over.
By a coin flip after 60 minutes of the most exciting, exhilarating football. And yet I hate that is the way that game ends. What a great game. I was happy, though, that it wasn't college overtime, because it was getting a little bit close to after I felt like my under call for all the totals in the game after the first day was like in the bag, and then they made it a little bit close, but I think we're still.
I think you're safe.
I think I'm just still safe.
I think you're right on. I think you're safe on those things. It was absolutely sensational. There's a lot more we want to get to on this front. We will get to it coming up next. We're off and running here. We haven't even gotten to the other games. The one on Sunday night was so sensational. Good. And the stakes in the other ones are just some of the biggest stakes ever when you think about Burrow and Cincinnati in this situation. When you think about Rodgers and Brady maybe done in both of those instances forever, or at least in those places for Rodgers' case. So there's a lot to unpack here on a wild and just brilliant weekend of NFL football. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. The weather is cold outside. The snow is coming down. With a nice hot bath or shower feel amazing, why not transform your bathroom into a custom bath that's going to feel like a spa? The Bath Authority can do this for you. They make it a reality at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler. They have expert factory-trained installers. Call now for $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. Give them a call at 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. The largest selection of bath projects, all made in the United States. You can change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding. Superior products with expert installers. 216-220-8399, bathauthority.com. We spent a lot of time, obviously, on the on one of the best games I've ever seen. But the drama this weekend was incredible. The Cincinnati Bengals, I was watching with the boys. Eli Apple tips the ball from Tannehill. Logan Wilson picks it off. And I remember talking about Logan Wilson in the draft. Remember out of Wyoming, the linebacker?
Mm-hmm. He had 4 picks this year in the regular season, and all of them were early. He had like 4 in the first
Did he?
6 games.
I wasn't aware of that. So he gets the pick, and I said to the boys, I said, I promise you Joe Burrow's going to get them a field goal. He's going to get them a field goal attempt. I promise you. Dad, what are you talking about? They got all this way to go. I said, I'm telling you. He's making a throw.
There was no doubt.
That dude is making a throw to get him a field goal, and sure enough, he throws a ball to, and this speaks to how he has the answers to the test. It speaks to his anticipation, his knowledge of what's going on around him. The fact that he got sacked 9 times and threw that ball to Jamar Chase before Jamar Chase even made a break. He was far from making a break, and Burrow threw the ball and put it out there on the screws. First down, kick a field goal, ball game.
All right, a couple of things. Number one, sacked 9 times and goes 28 of 37 for 348 yards. I don't know that there has ever been a quarterback who was sacked 9 times that had that high of a completion percentage or that high of a yards per attempt in NFL history. If there's somebody out there who knows, Stevie!
Stevie's in mine.
I hope that didn't pop you there, Gibby.
I think you might have popped a little bit.
Well, it was for Stevie.
Yeah, just kind of turn your head away from the microphone when you yell. Stevie! We have a sensitive board.
Yeah, apparently the board's. I'm not allowed to turn around anymore either. But
why?
Board can't handle it.
Zegura on Friday was popping quite a bit, and
sad. Hate to see it.
Yeah.
So now I need my mirror.
Or this.
Well, now we're back to. Now you're open to it. Now that this is out of my playbook.
Don't lead him down that road again, Bishop.
I don't have the Detroit. What do you call it? The Detroit lean?
Yeah,
the Detroit lean.
Detroit lean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that anymore.
No,
it's not in my repertoire. So it's sad.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a second mic that's just here.
Oh, I like that,
And
where
then-
it's just one on each side.
Yeah, so
then you can
yeah,
like here.
like Beau's doing.
You can do this,
Yeah.
one on each side.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like
perfect.
that. Perfect.
Yeah. Like you're throwing dimes all over the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, number one, anybody, we get back to what we're saying, Stevie, find that, get it. And then here's the other thing. Go back to that final sequence.
Mm-hmm.
He completes a 19-yard pass, first and 10 there at 47, to the Tennessee 34. There are 15 seconds left. Cincinnati at this point has 2 timeouts left. They elect to run the football with Mixon, and then Burrow and kind of a move over so I get it where I want it to be, so that they could trot out their rookie in the biggest kick of his life to win the game from 52.
Yeah, no, not a 37-yard, not a chippy.
Correct. They were like, 52? We're good. No problem.
It's safe, pal.
And he went out there and nailed it. And that's the thing, the quality of kicking on the winning football teams. And now, granted, Butker missed the kick, but he made that one at the end. Yeah. That is something that this organization must address. Yeah. We need to be able to have somebody who goes out there in a big moment where we're confident the ball is going to go through. The Bengals now with McPherson have that. The guy was insane. And you've got to deal with, at some point, they're going to have a little bit of a slump. Like Justin Tucker might miss 2 kicks all year, but you've got to be able to accept that. But when you have the talent and you have a guy, I mean, you think about him going in, this was a field goal game, right? I mean, you look at the scoring plays, McPherson 38, McPherson 45, McPherson 54 at the end of the second quarter, McPherson 52 to win.
They drafted him in the 5th round out of Florida. You hear this stuff Burrow recanted after the game? Did you hear this?
That he said he guaranteed he was going to make it? Or
he walks by Burrow. He does one kick. He walks by Burrow. What does Jay have?
Badges for us?
Oh, badges.
We've got badges?
Badges
Yeah, sure.
for everybody. Sure.
Badges for Gibbe?
Wonderful.
Where does that get me access
I know.
to?
What are these
Anywhere
for?
you want.
I thought I
already do that.
I thought I just needed my face.
Sometimes whether I'm allowed to or not.
Burrow walks by McPherson says one practice kick and then goes, looks like we're headed to the AFC Championship game, and then hits a 52-yarder to win it as a rookie.
Dude, because he's got clutch meter. And
do you see the video of him knocking the bottle cap off? What are you, hard of seeing?
What am I?
I got something that I don't know if you have seen. Are you aware of Joe Burrow's statistical accumulation in fourth quarters in Kansas City in the 2 playoff games?
I think, hold on, let me see. Hold on. 22 of 24 for like 277 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Renner had this morning. It's unbelievable. 22 of 24, pretty close. 22 of 24, 271, a touchdown and no picks. One of the 2 incompletions was a drop.
Yeah. That's right. He's good, dude. Look, folks.
It ain't hard, man. It's really hard, but there's a straight line.
If you want to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl in the next decade, you are going to have to be an elite passing offense. Full stop. Everything else after that is secondary. The thing that you must be first and foremost is an elite passing offense, because you're going to be dealing with Josh Allen, you're going to be dealing with Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be dealing with Joe Burrow, and you're going to be dealing with Justin Herbert for the next decade. And that doesn't even count Lamar, who's an MVP, who can beat you in a different way. But I would say my answer to Baltimore would be you need to look hard at yourself and say, are we ever going to be an elite passing offense with Lamar Jackson? No is the answer. Can we win a ton of regular season games? Is he arguably the most dangerous player in the National Football League when he's on the field? Yes. But if you want to, and that's why priority 1 this offseason for the Browns is the passing game. And I'm not saying you've got to be a good passing game. I'm saying you're going to have to be an elite passing game, because it's not going to be you're going to have to beat 2 of those guys every single year. Most likely.
Yeah, I think you think about, you could even think about like Derek Carr and say, boy, he was great this year. He was great. He played great. He elevated that team.
No doubt.
He elevated that team. They overachieved. But if you're the Raiders and you're looking at Derek Carr, can you beat 3 of those guys? No. You can't. I do think there's a chance that what we saw this weekend causes organizations to go, man, if we don't have one of those guys or somebody like that, we have to be in relentless pursuit of one.
The price tag for Deshaun Watson, assuming that he remedies his legal issues, right? His price tag went through the roof, because anybody who's looking, certainly in this conference, if he's going to get traded in the AFC, everybody who doesn't have one of those guys that we just mentioned needs to be considering that. Russ, Aaron Rodgers, because if you want to compete in this division, and Watson's the only one that gives you a decade of doing it.
Yeah, everybody else is a short
in this conference. Everybody
yeah.
else is Russ is 1 or 2 years, Rodgers 1 or 2 years. I'm saying if you want to be able to compete with those teams, and Herbert's got to earn it. We have to see him get into the postseason and perform at a high level. But to deal with Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes for the next decade, you are going to have an elite passing game. And that's why that is going to be priority 1 this offseason for the Cleveland Browns, and probably every offseason going forward until it is a fact, until it is true. And the Browns right now, ground game is awesome, no doubt. But that's not going to matter to run through this conference going forward. You could have the best running game in the history of the world. It's not going to matter. And now in the NFC, I think you can get away with it. It's a little bit different in the NFC. Yeah. But unfortunately for us, we are not in the NFC. Because in the NFC, your top quarterbacks are Brady and Rodgers, and could be done. Yeah. Russ could be leaving the conference. Stafford would be the best remaining quarterback in the conference.
Well, true. I mean, you didn't even mention Lawrence in the AFC, who many people thought was luck. Who know what he turns into.
And who knows what he becomes
as it goes.
Better coaching. Certainly. Yeah, he had a wasted year.
Yeah, totally wasted year.
Yeah, he's still here. So that's why if I'm putting myself in the mind of Deshaun Watson, I'm absolutely going to the NFC. If I'm Russell Wilson, I'm figuring out a way to stay in the NFC.
Yes.
That's just where it is. But this is the reality that is going to have to be confronted by every team in the AFC. And I would imagine every general manager of every football team that was not the Chiefs, the Bills, the Chargers are certainly not trading Herbert, even interested in even entertaining that notion, or who am I missing? The Bengals. You have to be saying, we've got to look, how can we figure out how to compete with this? Because the fact is, the rules are so against you being able to be a defensive power and win like the old Baltimore Ravens, or, for example, the 85 Bears. Like, that just isn't going to happen. Now, you can dominate a game if a team's offensive line is suspect, and that could end up being ultimately, the Achilles heel here for the Bengals, because you're going to have to be dealing with Chris Jones. Melvin Ingram's playing phenomenal football for the Kansas City Chiefs, which we'll talk about as the week goes on. But the bottom line is you've got three for sure, who have now proven they can win in the postseason. Just absolute dynamite number one dudes.
Yeah.
Period. Like if you're
That's
redrafting the NFL
they
for
go
the next
1, 2,
10
3,
years,
4.
and Herbert, those are your.
And Watson is right there.
He'd probably be 4
Yeah.
if it weren't
Right.
under the circumstances.
Yeah.
So the top 5 are currently in the AFC.
Yeah. And Lawrence would be in the top 10 based on what he was coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the reality.
That's the
of it.
reality.
That's the reality of it. Something for you to ponder in this break, and Gribbs is coming up. We'll ask him about all of this as well. Is this the best group of young quarterbacks that a conference has ever had? Just think of it historically speaking. Has there been – I mean, I immediately go to the 80s in the AFC, Marino, Elway, that group, Jim Kelly. But it's pretty stout right now in the AFC.
I mean, in the AFC, though, you had – like these guys
well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
We get to it with Gribbs. You make your list. We'll get to that. Gribbs coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for my friends at EOX Vantage. EOX Vantage connects core systems that don't talk. From reportings and analytics to insight and decision-making, gain a more real-time picture of your businesses, all of your business, rather. Eliminate that Excel nightmare. You know that you have them. You can eliminate it from the business processes, visualize your important data in one place, gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall costs, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, and management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter to move your business forward. You're about growth. Your software should be too. With EOX Vantage, it can be. Your company will scale effortlessly. Give them a call. Check them out, www.eoxvantage.com. Local company, folks, good guys over there. Gribbs is here. I asked this to Z before, and you're always prisoner of the moment. And when you come out of the weekend that you just had, but from a conference standpoint, and in terms of quarterbacks in their prime, is this as good as it's ever been?
I mean, I think so. I was trying to think about it during the break because that's a tough question. That just throws. I mean, I think I go back to the '90s with how dominant the NFC was, and you think about the quarterbacks that are around then. You had but they were kind of like ships passing in the night with like their primes, and I'll throw this out there that I would argue the scary thing about the situation is, do we even know if Josh Allen and Mahomes are in their prime yet?
Well, no, none of these guys are. I don't think.
Mahomes, these guys are pretty young.
Guys, Josh Allen changed this entire discussion by how he's elevated the last 2 years. I mean, I don't have I don't have a thing to compare it to, because you have a guy who was not accurate, who became accurate,
which has not happened.
That doesn't
often,
happen,
and I think that it's huge that you had his stability with Dable, 4 years, same system.
Yeah.
I think some people talk about if he came here. Look, his talent is undeniable, but if he had to go through changing system year after year after year, I don't think that allows you to do the little work on your mechanics, because you're constantly learning a new offense and new concepts and new verbiage and all of that. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Bills organization for putting that around him and then surrounding him with great talent. But you got to give Josh a lot of credit, because that is the desire to get into the minutia of the way that you do everything from a mechanical standpoint and become better, and he's done that.
He's obviously been incredible in the playoffs, and I guess I'll throw this out there that the one way to not look at this as if, oh my gosh, what are we going to do for the next 10 plus years with these two guys, is Josh Allen this year had a really good year. He did not have a great year. We're talking about this because of the way he finished the season.
In the playoffs.
It was an up and down season. He was not as good for most of this year as he was last year. And I think it was really that halftime moment of the Bucs game where they just changed everything offensively, and that's where he got rolling. I guess you're hoping is if his trajectory is going to continue the way he was these last 2 weeks, or is it going to be the up and down?
I think there's always going to be some level of up and downness, but his ability to impact the game, running, throwing, all of those things, and frankly, you got to say, clearly his clutch meter is off the charts, so he's going to have the full belief in any type of a big situation from his teammates that he's going to come through, because he did. They didn't lose because he didn't come through. They lost because they allowed a field goal in 13 seconds. They didn't kick the ball off inbounds and force a return or a fair catch at some point. And by the way, it's so many, and I've seen this so much. Well, why didn't they just tackle every receiver every play? They changed the rules because Baltimore did that, and so now that's 15 yards, and you get all the time back. So you can't just go out there and like tackle people. Everybody's saying, well, you just hold them every single play.
And then pass interference.
You can't do that anymore.
Right.
They put that's not allowed.
Everything else was egregious, though.
Oh, you got to kick that ball and bounce. You got to make them return that or fair catch it at the 10.
Or defending them like they had no timeouts, but they had timeouts.
And that was the other thing. They lined up. That's what I said. If you look at the
took
screen.
McDermott took timeouts. I don't know. To get him set, it was so
If you look the way they were set on the screen to Hill, they're doing the thing where they're standing on the sidelines facing into the field, not allowing any side. But they had 3 timeouts. So wherever the ball goes is immaterial. Them going out about saving 3 timeouts for what? They're only going to run. They've got 2 plays. Yeah. Period. Like, it doesn't matter. You had to defend them. That was bad at the end of that game. That was bad. But, I mean, Gabriel, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns in a loss? Yeah. That route that he put on where he made, was it Hughes literally fall down?
He fell down, yeah. And that was 4th and 13, wasn't it?
No, that was the second one. He ran a great route on the.
They ran 2 2-minute drives.
Yes, right. It was the second 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was getting them all mixed.
They won the game.
I was getting them all mixed up this morning, like trying to figure out like the chain of events with everything that happened there. Unbelievable.
What's better than this? What's more difficult than this? The only thing I can come up with is the 80s AFC, but there's not the Super Bowls.
What about Manning, Brady, Ben?
That's there.
I mean, they were the only quarterbacks in the Super Bowl for a long period of time. Then you had Flacco who went and he won. And you even had Phil Rivers who, while he didn't make the Super Bowl, was darn good and also in his prime.
Yeah.
For
that's a good
decades.
One.
I mean, that's
probably the answer. The AFC in the 80s was pretty good. You had Elway, Marino, Kelly, and then even obviously Bernie was here.
But they couldn't win.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Esiason in Cincinnati,
but
they couldn't.
I had Boomer question mark. Is Boomer allowed to be in these discussions?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. But you're right. They didn't win the Super Bowl. They were really beaten up badly by the NFC. That's probably it. Where you have Manning and Brady at the same time.
And
but the only thing with Brady that's interesting is he wasn't really Brady until the late part of the aughts, if you will.
Yeah.
Before that, he's more game manager Brady.
Totally.
And then he becomes Brady when they get Moss, and then it
was 2007. Seven.
Big picture, I'm curious what you guys think about this. I think what we're seeing right now in the NFL, and there's a lot of perfect storms that are colliding, but I think this has been. Manning made me think of this, probably going back to him, where we now go to quarterbacks and say, how do we put you in the best position to succeed, as opposed to you become what we do here. Remember forever. It was even Michael Vick running the West Coast, all that nonsense.
Sure.
In the last decade, quarterbacks have been put in the best position to succeed, and there's countless examples around the league where this is the case, where every offense is built around the quarterback's talent. So there's that. The other thing is NFL offenses over the last decade have stolen a lot from college. College uses all this stuff that the NFL's been using in the last 5 years. It's gone crazy, but college has been using a lot of this stuff for a long time. The other factor here is this is a trickle up all the way down to youth football. I covered high school football for 20 years. When I first started covering it, everyone ran I formation or option. Now what's everybody run? Spread.
Yep.
My kids, 10-8, 6, spread. Spread. That's what they run. These guys are they're coming into the league ready to go, running offenses that, while different, are largely similar to what they've been running their entire lives. So you can be Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow. It's all the same. The verbiage is different, but they're asked to do the same things. And I think it's all come together. It all came together last night. It's Sunday night at 6:30, but it's been building to this for a while.
Yeah, and you mentioned Herbert there, and let's not forget what he did in that game against the Raiders, where he's making fourth down touch. I mean, he had one of the great stretches, and so they're gonna, while they didn't make it into the playoffs,
they ain't going anywhere.
They're gonna come in with a ton of confidence next year and have a chance to address their holes, and they've got the biggest piece, right? And that's the difference. But I think, yeah, the NFL game is now all about, putting these guys in absolutely the best positions to succeed. And I think that, what you think of as a pro-style offense, teams that run them that is because they're not able to just say, we're going to throw it, and our quarterback is either going to make something happen in the structure of the play, but more than likely, how many of those plays were made out of structure? And they're so good at it. Even Burrow's great at buying time, moving around, and then making the throw, and Allen's phenomenal at it. And I almost think you need a guy, and you'd say, well, look, Brady doesn't do it, although he can take off, and Stafford can, they can run at times. But it's the guys that can make plays out of structure, but then are deadly in structure. That's the combination that you want. You can't be subpar in structure when everything's going right, and you can't be not possess the ability to make plays out of structure. Then you're toast.
Yeah, it's a mix of both, because obviously the comparison for me with Josh Allen in particular, that he reminds me most of in prime Cam Newton. I think that's who he's been looking
better
like.
Thrower.
Better thrower, but the power running that he has.
Yeah.
And for him that just like with Cam, that's not going to last forever. He's going to have to adjust a little bit.
Are you old enough to remember Elway in his prime, Gribbs? Do you remember him?
I caught him at the tail end.
Okay, so I know you're younger than us, but late 80s, early 90s Elway was a lot of this.
Yes.
It's Elway's the doppelganger,
especially
honestly,
the spin out left that he does.
He's got
looks a lot
he's got
like
that
Elway.
strength. He's got because Elway would run too in those years.
I'm trying to pull up his
and you guys made this point though. It's like Herbert, Mahomes, and Allen too. Three of those guys, special arm talent on top of all this as well. Like Burrow, maybe not as much so, but he's still
can pick
great
up
arm.
any 3rd and 10. They can pick up any 3rd and 10 with their legs. whenever they need to, which is
crazy.
I mean, Mahomes had, 49 yards rushing on the first drive yesterday? It was almost like he was going to be like, yeah, I can do this too whenever I want to. I just choose not to.
The play he made, who caught the touchdown where he pirouetted?
Oh, my goodness, and threw it to the back.
So he reverse pivot. He reverts pivot left to be met by it's a blitzer or an end.
Yep.
So he reverse pivots, and there's someone there to meet him, and then just pirouettes and throws off a foot for a touchdown.
That's right. He did do that.
I mean, if you're going to be Houdini, I don't know what you do.
It was to Pringle.
That
guy's had a nice little.
It's just crazy though. It just shows the NFL though, as good as he was, Josh Allen yesterday not playing because the other side of the ball let him down. It was tough for that to happen.
Elway only ran for more than 300 yards in a season once, but at that time, running for 300 yards as a quarterback or 250, he did 250 basically every year was a ton.
Yeah, it was a totally different game. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
the style, I think, is the physicality,
the
they
style,
could get hits. The arm strength.
Yeah, they could get hits.
They could get hits.
No, stylistically, very much the same. But I think those rushing numbers, 304 touchdowns, 255, and 6 touchdowns on the ground, that's similar. Like in today's NFL, he'd be running for double that, which is put him right at Allen.
Yeah, 500, 600, 700.
Because you have so many scramble yards.
Yeah.
What did they say yesterday on that stat that Allen had 494 scramble yards, which were most in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then Mahomes had the most passing yards off of scrambles, which I didn't understand how they declared that it was the scramble that stopped and turned into a pass. But that's the out of structure. And the out of structure, in my mind, that's the NFL. You've got to be elite in structure. I think that's a given. To be a great quarterback in this league, you must be elite when you're blocked up and all that. You've got to be able to take advantage. But it's the guys who can make those plays outside of structure. That's where the game is. And we've got, unfortunately, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Watson, when he plays, are probably 5 of the 6 best in the league, 7 best in the league, 8 best in the league. Lawrence, with real coaching, where's he going to be? I mean, he was like a can't-miss guy.
Right.
His year was bad. And then Lamar can do all kinds of insane things. Like Lamar reminds me of the old school Cavs that were great regular season teams. Like they were just a tough matchup for people to deal with LeBron day in, day out. So you'd run off a great record. But in a series or in the playoffs, they're not as tough to deal with. Yeah.
It's something when you think about the crazy thing too. I think there's some good lessons here when you think about team building and you think about the Cincinnati choice to go with Chase. And there was so much clamoring. Joe Burrow got hit. He got sacked 9 times. He got hit all day. But an elite quarterback and then an elite playmaker can overcome that. And Cincinnati took Burrow number 1. They took Higgins in the second round.
First pick of the second round.
Right. And then this year they took Jamar Chase.
Yep.
And if you look at that, that's the whole operation. And they got to fix offensive line. You can't let him get hit like this, obviously. You can't let him get hit like this. But he's so good. And those 2 guys are so good, and they already had Mixon, already had Boyd. So you add that to it that you can overcome it. You hear so many people talk, you got to have the best. No, you don't need to have the best offensive line. No. Get around it. They do. They have. They're in the AFC Championship game.
And with Cincinnati, too, if you look at just the bigger picture, they rarely participate much in free agency.
Right.
They were active this year, and they knocked it out of the park. For defense, they made their defense is obviously not like elite, but for that game, they were opportunistic and made the most of their plays, and it was impressive to see. I mean, to win, that was like a Titans kind of game.
Yes.
And they like out-Titans that team. I thought that was impressive by their whole operation.
Here's the thing. Mahomes can make Byron Pringle look like a stud. Josh Allen makes Gabe Davis look like a stud. C.J. Uzomah, who had done nothing of note as a receiver in his entire career, now can look like a stud. You go with, even down to Herbert. When they were going through those injuries and all of a sudden one week it was Guyton would step in. He'd have 100-yard touchdowns. Like fantasy was like whichever one of those receivers is stepping in. Jordan Palmer. He'd step in. Not the Jordan Palmer, the quarterback guy. He had a receiver. He stepped in and had a touchdown. These guys not only can they make stars better, and obviously they benefit from their stars as you talked about, but then their ability to make average guys good or great depending on the moment. If you try to take away the star, that's what's special about all of these guys.
Yeah,
it's pretty
incredible. It was staggering. Could you remember, Gribbs, a better weekend of football than that?
I had a great. Everything was great last year when you won that playoff game. That was a lot of fun. Makes it a lot more fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, every game was good. Even the game that was supposedly bad for 3 quarters turned out to be amazing at the end.
Yeah.
Like with the Rams Bucks, the Bucks had no business hanging in that game, but then it was like this is a Rams team that's done that in the past where they take the foot off the gas and then they don't know how to close games because they don't run the ball very well. And they just kind of make dumb mistakes at the end as well. So it's setting up. It makes me in the back of my mind. It's making me like think, oh, is championship week going to be a stinker, or is this gonna carry into next week? It's just going to be tough to top that week of every game being close. Even the games that Saturday slate, not the prettiest games, either of them. There was a lot of mistakes, a lot of just sloppy football.
To go to bed.
But you just hung around because it was close. It stayed close.
Yeah.
Look, you got games that are rematches of late season games that have massive consequences. The Niners beat the Rams at SoFi to get into the playoffs themselves and to knock the Rams from the 2 seed to the 4 seed. Now, for the Rams, it didn't matter. They're still going to end up hosting the NFC Championship game. Think about that. They're the 4 seed, they're hosting the NFC Championship game. And then the Bengals beat the Chiefs, which ended our season all prematurely and cost them the 1 seed, them being the Chiefs. And guess what? They're still now hosting the championship game for the 4th consecutive year. Did you see this stat? The longest streaks of a team hosting the championship game. There are twice it's happened, 3 times or more. The Chiefs these last 4 years have hosted the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row, and then the Eagles back in the McNabb days, 3 straight hosting of NFC Championship.
I would not have had that.
All Andy Reid. That's kind of incredible.
At least 2 of these teams are showing you how much of a journey the regular season is. Like the Chiefs were 3-4. It just it was like everyone was wondering if the Chiefs were broken, and then the 49ers at times have looked broken because half their team was hurt, and they just kind of weathered this whole thing and have just kind of played. And I like the comparison that people keep bringing up about the 49ers. They remind you of the Eli Giants. Like they're just kind of hanging around and playing good defense and making the plays when they need to. Not the best quarterback play they're getting out there, but it's like whole team effort, obviously winning games on special teams and all this stuff. Just kind of have the magic going at the right moment.
That gentleman right there had Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat for much of this season, ready to be fired.
Ready to be fired.
At any moment.
I was not the only one. I was a trendsetter for a brief period of time. A brief period.
Yeah, Florio followed you for a little while. Now you were getting real chesty about that. I don't hear much of that anymore. In fact, now we're getting calls. We got a tweet today from somebody asking Gibbe to put Stefanski on the hot seat because once that happens, the guy goes to the championship game, if not Super Bowl.
It was fun.
It's going to be a home game basically for the Niners as well with the crowd.
I can't wait for that one. I mean, that is going to be
phenomenal. I know you have the personal, but I don't know how you're going to do better than Burrow and Mahomes. I mean, you saw it was an incredible game 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one too.
But I mean, the quarterback play in that game is going to be crazy.
It should be.
Yeah, it should be. Good stuff, Gribbs.
Thanks.
Good talking to you, buddy. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more on that front. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get you updated on some of the news and notes around your Cleveland Browns. Haven't gotten into the NFC much either, so we'll get into those 2 games coming up, as well as the AFC has garnered much of our attention. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Coming off of one of the most spectacular weekends in NFL. We haven't done much on the NFC yet. We'll get to that in a second. Some Browns news for you over the weekend. 3:15 Friday. There you go. The team is sending 4 coaches to coach in the East-West Shrine Bowl. Defensive backs, pass game coordinator Jeff Howard, offensive coaching assistant Ryan Cordell, Bill Willis, coaching fellow Ashton Grant, and assistant offensive line coach Scott Peters. Each will be on the sidelines for the game, which is the longest-running college all-star football game in the nation.
Yeah. How about our guy Jeff Howard, DC?
DC.
Calling the plays.
Running things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
East-West Shrine, where does that used to be a big deal.
Used to be out in the Bay Area.
Did it?
Uh-huh.
Where does that – because they used to – they have the Senior Bowl, right, which is still the
I think the Senior Bowl's like the week after.
Shrine Bowl's for the guys that didn't necessarily get invited or didn't get invited.
Didn't get invited to the Senior Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember the hierarchy.
And I don't know if
of all that.
underclassmen can maybe play in that one, whereas the Senior Bowl is, as its name would suggest, for seniors.
For seniors only. One's
right.
in Mobile, and then this one is
Vegas.
Vegas.
So they put it where
Advantage East-West.
which is not always there, but they put it where the Pro Bowl is this year, and it seems very smart.
Yeah, seems like it is. All right, we spent a lot of time on the AFC games. On the NFC side of things, the where do you want to start? Do you want to start on the Packers 49ers or on the what a night for Pedro.
I mean, my mentions were just nothing but watch me drink my coffee and spend money. All I tweet out is that emoji that amazingly looks so much like him.
Just like him. I've seen him in person. It's his doppelganger.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So I just tweeted that out after they won, and then I got a ton of Spumoni and watch me drink my coffee.
Beautiful.
And Nate's. It's great.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Browns therapy with some great. Had my dad dancing on a rather buffed gentleman's body, and I sent it to my dad, and he goes, "The arms look right."
You think? You sure? I was surprised. I mean, obviously I picked the 49ers. I picked San Francisco to cover. I thought it'd be a close game, but I had the 49ers. I'm sorry, I had the Packers winning the Super Bowl. So obviously did not have that.
Yep.
But what struck me was the 49ers or the Packers go right down the field and score.
Yep.
On San Francisco, and it's so easy. It's just, well, I guess it's going to be a long night, right? You feel like, okay, here we go. The next set possession, they get a stop. The next possession, they're doing it again, and the Mercedes Lewis fumbles. And it was almost like that changed everything. Between that and then the special teams gaffe right before half, obviously the block punt that ends up being the game tire and eventual, helps San Francisco win the game. I was shocked at how, but really the Mercedes Lewis fumble, it felt like it derailed everything. I was shocked it felt like the Packers were almost mentally weak.
So they go, as you mentioned, and score. And you know what's funny about that is that when we played New England this year, when we got boat raced, we went right down the field and scored on that opening drive like it was nothing. And then we had I think we threw an interception on our second possession, and that was that. But think about this. Here were the 49ers' first few possessions. Let's see how many drives we get to. Let's just go through the first half, shall we? Or the first quarter.
Go.
Yeah, first quarter. First half. Niners, 3 plays, negative 11 yards, punt. 3 plays, no yards, punt. 3 plays, negative 1 yard, punt. 3 plays, negative 3 yards, punt. 11 plays, 58 yards, interception. Half ends 7-0. I actually felt pretty good because as I was at dinner with the iPad, which I went, it was a great time, awesome meal, tremendous wines, great company. It was honestly perfect because that was a disgusting first half from the 49ers perspective. Mm-hmm. You had all 3 and outs and an interception. And on 3 of those 3 and outs, you had negative yards.
Did you see Kyle's celebration on the blocked field goal?
At the end of the first half?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, he knows that
He knows we're in it.
We've been as bad as we can be, and we're in a one-score game on the road at Lambeau against the Packers, which is crazy because to your point, the Packers score, right, that opening drive. They go 10 plays, 69 yards, touchdown. Then they go 5 plays, 33 yards. They're moving it, the fumble. Then 3 and out. 6 plays, 16 yards, punt. And then at the end of the half, they go on that nice drive after Garoppolo's interception, and they have the field goal blocked. And then the Niners open the second half. They get the field goal. And then for the Packers, again, it's 3 and out. Niners 3 and out. I mean, there's so many 3 and outs. Field goal, it's 10-3. And then the Niners get the block punt touchdown after they turn it over on downs and get a 3-play, negative 9-yard drive, which was incredible. That was the game. And then they hold them to I thought for sure the Packers were just going to go down and get a field goal. And I was hoping Mason Crosby would miss it. They go 3 plays, -6 yards, punt it back, and the Niners get their 9 plays, 44 yards. They get the field goal. And how about this one? I thought this was incredible. Great ball and first down to Kittle. You get the 12 yards. Then a great ball over the middle again to Debo for 14. Debo's an animal.
He's unreal.
So he makes a couple of big-time throws. But then 3rd and 7 at their 38, they give it to Debo, right end, and he picks up 9 yards. Gets the first down, and then much like the other game we talked about, they're 1st and 20 at the 29. The Niners have 2 timeouts to go, and they basically just kneel on the ball, run it right up the gut for a yard, so that Gold in the freezing snow, who's never missed in the playoffs, can nail a 45-yarder for the game winner.
And he just crushed it.
And but I'm saying the confidence that you must have in your kicker's ability, where you're not even like, dude, let's make this like shorter than 40 yards here. Let's still try to get a few yards. Not like whatever.
He's good.
He's good. 52-45 under those circumstances.
On the other side of it, there's a couple of plays. The one that they had just subbed in, I think they'd subbed in Josh Norman, and he was covering Devontae Adams. And Rodgers went right at him, and he missed Adams. Adams broke and got past him, and Rodgers didn't put it out far enough, and he would have had a chance for a big play.
Yep.
The miss deep where he goes deep to Adams, he's got Lazard running free.
That's the last possession.
That's the last possession where he has Lazard running free.
That's 3rd and 11, and he goes deep into double coverage.
Deep into double to Adams, and he's got Lazard running free.
Wide open over the middle of the field.
Impossible for someone of Rodgers' talent to miss that. I mean, it was almost like he was so fed up with not being able to throw it deep to Adams that he just was predetermined he was going to throw it. And I don't know who the player is for the 49ers, but they hit the big bust to Jones, the big busted play to Jones where Rodgers buys time and Jones gets deep. And Jones, for some reason, kind of weaved into the oncoming tackler.
Yep.
And that guy got to him and got him down. I think if Jones just runs straight, he might have just scored. I don't know who the safety was. Okay, well, he saved it.
Yep.
That's just effort. That's a game-saving play right there.
Well, then
because he's going.
Because he gets stopped at the 14. Because remember, they were on their own 11. And then you get
monster play.
Then you get a sack on first down, and then you block the field goal.
Yeah.
Huge play, right? It was 75 yards.
Yeah.
And they were 3rd and 3 at their own 11. You know, you're thinking maybe we're going to get the ball back here. And obviously they did not get that. Amos got the pick at the 4. But the next time when they got him down there, that block punt, and to be able to get the scoop, the ball to be right there, Hufanga to pick it up, get into the end zone. He said, okay. I still thought there was no chance Packers weren't going to score when they had the ball. Aaron Rodgers right there. I mean,
he's got this around his neck a little bit.
0-4 against the Niners.
0-4 against the Niners. When they picked him, everybody remembers him saying they're going to regret it and all that stuff. And if you go back, of course, if you're the 49ers, you would rather had Aaron Rodgers for all of that time. But the idea that they're undefeated against him in the postseason, the idea that he's had the NFC, it's kind of like the end of Breeze a little bit. The talent's different, but remember Breeze would have home field in the NFC with the Saints and they couldn't win. They have this tremendous home field advantage and they couldn't sort it out. That's kind of what it's like. He's kind of got an anti-clutch meter in the postseason. It's wild to think that he goes 20 at 29, 225, no touchdowns. They muster one drive where they scored a touchdown. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely impossible. And the other thing that obviously is becoming impossible too is the idea of getting the gang back together up there.
They're like $60 million over the cap.
That's right. And his number's like 46.
Yeah.
So if they bring him back, that's 46. They have Adams, who's a free agent too. So they can't. There's no path for them to bring them both. Almost none. I mean, you can do some. I mean, the Chiefs were in a situation like this a couple of years ago, and they were able to manipulate it. I don't know how, but they did.
Well, they signed a 10-year deal.
That's the way to do it. So you'd have to do Rodgers 5 years, $200 million, and maybe that would be a way to do it. Turn it into guaranteed money. I don't know. It's also probably though. And we'll get to the Bucs and the Rams in a second. Isn't this also, if you are the Packers, you trade him right now?
Yeah, 100%.
Because you can get 3 ones.
You can get some. Yeah,
you're going to get a ton of value.
Certainly
for him.
something.
Yeah, you're going to get a ton, especially after what we just saw in the AFC. Like someone is going to pay. If you're Denver, and you have that roster that they have, and you're saying the only way we're going to – that's an organization that's used to winning. The only way we're going to have a chance is to get a quarterback in here with all this talent that we've got. What do you need?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's got to be the route. Now, I don't know if he'd want to go to the AFC. Who knows?
Well, listen, Denver's interviewing I think his offensive coordinator. If Denver brings a Packers offensive coach there to become their coach, does that all of a sudden does that interest Rodgers, or is that actually not good to Rodgers?
I would think it would interest him. He's played so well in it.
I mean,
You know,
and he all of a sudden, that'd be the best weapons he's had since you had, Jordy Nelson and Cobb in their primes.
Right.
You'd all of a sudden have Sutton and Judy and Fant and Hamler running around with all the speed and Williams in the backfield. But then you have to play Mahomes twice a year. You got to play Herbert twice a year.
Yeah, it's a full day. It is an absolute full day.
Yeah.
In the other one, I was thinking about the way that the narrative would have been different on Matthew Stafford, because he was carrying all that Detroit bad mojo around his neck for a lot of years, and he played great. He was really, really great against the Bucs.
The coverage at the end is mind-boggling.
It is.
His throw, though, was such a dime.
It was
and he was getting crushed
dime.
by Sue.
He was getting crushed.
Crushed.
Yes, and he threw a dime. And that's why they made the deal.
Of course.
By the way, that's probably why McVay – I mean, remember, they have to burn their timeout with 30 seconds because he goes up the middle and gets tackled. So they got to burn that timeout at that point. They don't have a timeout.
No, they had none.
They had none.
So how in the world are you playing any kind of a coverage where they can just beat you over the top without safeties?
Arians is saying not everybody came on the blitz. There is one linebacker who didn't, 54. He didn't come. He kind of stopped. But I don't think it would have made a damn bit of difference.
Why are you playing cover zero
there
anyway?
Why are you doing it anyway? What are you doing?
Right.
You get Cooper Kupp on
and
a
then
safety?
You have, think about what about the other bomb to cup up the right sideline where the safety, they're playing covered too on 3rd and 20, and the safety, they're playing Tampa too, so it was Devin White runs with the post to Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
And was with him, and the safety comes to double the post. Well, in a cover two, the corner, although that corner probably should have drifted back a little bit, but they passed that on. That's the safety's responsibility on that vertical to the outside.
Right.
And so they just leave him wide open.
Did were you surprised Friday, the news dump on Brady?
I'm surprised that it happened on Friday per se, but no, I mean, you got to, at some point he's got to be thinking about it.
But why did it get out? Of course he's thinking about it, but what made somebody in his camp push that?
Here's my thought.
Give me your theory.
I have my one theory that just popped into my head as you asked the question.
I like it.
Because I hadn't really contemplated it before, and now I am. No Wirfs, no Godwin, no Brown. He was overmatched, and he knew it. And maybe if he put out there that this is it, he might be able to squeeze that last extra bit of juice out of everybody. We cannot be the guys who let Tom Brady down so that he goes out in a losing effort to maybe just try for a motivation standpoint of trying to get these, Tyler Johnsons of the world to
right.
And he did not elevate his game, but just that to put it out there to everybody, these are the stakes. This isn't just us losing a game. We need all hands on. I need everything. Because I think he knew it was a bad matchup. That's the thing that I'm the most upset about with myself, is that I knew all week that the Rams were a horrible match for Tampa. You and I both were talking about how the Rams were going to beat them, and the Bengals.
We both said.
We both did it, and it's
here's the
total
thing.
idiotic. And then I got hosed by the Bills. I feel like that was a hosing.
Well, here's the deal, though. The good news is that we don't have Thursday Night Football anymore, so the people in the know knew.
We're so far above 500, we don't even need to resort to such shenanigans.
No, I was upset too because when Cincinnati made the postseason, I said, well, they're going to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, we said it.
Book it. And then the Rams matchup was just a brutal one for the Bucs with the injuries. We talked about, if you're going to have those tackles or not. So
here's a fun one. None of the three of us have our preseason NFC or AFC champions or Super Bowl champions even alive. I had Tampa and the Browns.
Yep.
You had Green Bay and the Browns.
Yep.
Gibbe had Tampa and the Browns. We all had the Super Bowl champion being the Browns. Well, obviously we're on Browns, so that was a little bit of trying to inject a little love in there.
What was our Final Fours? Do you have that? AFC Championship games? Do we have that? Probably not.
We did not do a full final
breakdown how it was going to go. Yeah,
but I'm guessing that I would add. I mean,
Kansas City and the Browns, and probably would have had Bucks and the Packers.
Gibbe didn't even have the Niners in the playoffs. The disrespect.
He's been having them on the hot seat for a long time.
You did have the Niners in the playoffs. I had the Niners and the Rams. You had the Niners and the Rams. Gibbe had just the Rams. And then in the AFC, let's see. We all had Buffalo winning. We all had Kansas City winning the West, and all had Buffalo winning the East. So, I mean, Buffalo's gone. Kansas City's in. As far as Cincinnati goes, none of us had them in the playoffs.
No, but we said they'd be frisky.
Oh, yeah.
We used frisky a lot. Yeah, and you knew they could score. Yeah, I mean, they had one goal this year. Keep Joe Burrow upright.
Yep.
That's it. Keep him upright. See what he is. They're way ahead of schedule, man. Way ahead of schedule.
If the Chargers had just beaten the Raiders in that game, like I felt like they should have, I would have had all 3 wild cards right. I had New England, Pittsburgh, Chargers. You had New England, Pittsburgh, Indy. So kudos, and then Gibbe had
same Indy. If Indy, I mean, you'd lose to Jacksonville.
They wouldn't even be wild cards. They would have been straight up division winners.
Jeez. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a feared case review. Elk and Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll go around the league. Yeah, there's other league news going on as well. We'll get into that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Gambling without setting limits on how much you're going to wager or how long you'll play is like a football team going into a game without a game plan. It's probably going to end up in a loss, so always set limits before you bet. Get more tips like this at keepitfunohio.com. Gibbe wants game balls for the weekend that was Kyle Shanahan.
That should be Gibbe's. Gibbe, are you giving the game ball to Kyle?
No.
For that 3rd and 7 call?
Or Debo.
The
How about
the
the idea
chutzpah?
that he puts Trent Williams in motion? The first time I saw that, I said, is that legal?
Yeah.
Like for him to, because it almost seemed like he was going towards the line. He was like a CFL receiver running towards the line. So I don't know if that's not legal, right? He can't run towards the line.
He could be running down the line.
Yeah, he was running. It was a banana route.
It was a little bit of a banana.
Yeah.
So my dad was furious that. I said, Dad, the first time they did it, they killed him. So I think the second time, and if you watch it back, if Mitchell had just kept going outside with Williams, he would have picked it up. But my dad was furious. He's like, why didn't you just put him? Nerd, I just run it behind Williams. I said, Dad, that's what they were doing. They're giving him a running head start so he could go bulldoze people. I said, I don't think Mitchell made the right read. Nerd, horrible call. All right, then.
Who do you got in the first game? Who's your game ball first game? Titans, Bengals.
McPherson.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's money.
He's unreal.
And
Burrow's unreal. And Chase, too. My God. Chase, they just throw it out to Chase as a screen. He makes a guy miss. He goes 60.
Yeah. Just a quick little hitch and goodbye. See ya. I'd also say that game ball to our good friend of the show, Charles Davis, who had to miss that one due to COVID. And I thought, sometimes they say your presence is – your impact is felt through your presence. I'd say in this case his impact was felt through his absence because no disrespect to Trent Green at all, but Ian and Charles would have been a much better broadcast.
Correct. I believe you have that.
Yeah. He was bummed. Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go I think you can go Debo or Kyle. I think you could also go Nick Bosa, who was unblockable.
He's going to be a problem for the Rams.
He's
he
going
was
to be a
last time.
big problem for the Rams.
He's going to be a problem for the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go Kyle just because that feels good.
Well, for sure. In the AFC in the Sunday games, I go Stafford or Cup, either one. Stafford was great.
I'll go Stafford just because the pressure that was on him, as we said, was enormous. The pressure was on McVay was enormous. And then, I want people to understand that offense has so many of the same principles as our offense.
Correct.
They just are able to run it more out of the shock. They do more out of the gun than we do. And they are and Stafford obviously is an elite thrower of the football. And so that's what's opened it up, and that's what kind of was their blueprint. But, Odell continued to be, I think, a very solid piece for them. Kupp is ridiculous. That was a great one on the sideline.
By the way, they got Odell for nothing, and they're basically paying him nothing. You saw that tweet over the weekend as well? He took his money in Bitcoin.
Which is halved. He's making $35,000 for his efforts.
Well, I'm guessing he's fine financially, but
yes.
They are literally paying him next to nothing, and they acquired him for nothing.
It's rough in the crypto streets, my friend.
Yeah,
Listen, that's why
Uncle Bo steers clear.
That's why you got to take your.
I don't understand it. I can't. I got to stay clear. If I don't.
What did I tell you? Nobody ever goes broke taking a profit. So you got to take your profits when they're there, and then get to the point where it's just house money, and then you can. It doesn't hurt as much when you lose house money and you watch it go down. That's their money.
In the Chiefs game, Mahomes is sensational, but my God, Tyreek Hill. Have you guys ever seen anything like him? The gear?
No.
Like Devin Hester had it, but he didn't have that ability. He was a punt returner.
He's not running routes.
He's not running routes.
But the ball's got to be so perfect for him not to have to slow at any point.
It's a great point out of you.
And he just is. I mean, that was just a dig, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Poyer saw it coming. Poyer saw what was happening.
He knew what was happening.
And was trying to come down to make the tap, and he just outran that angle, and then around the corner he outran that. And I mean, to be piecing the guy who's still 3 yards ahead of you is nuts.
And he had just had the punt return.
And thank God they didn't flag that.
He had the punt return. He had that play, and then he had the 19-yarder on a screen, receiver screen.
On the touchdown, my wife goes, "There's a guy running right next to him. Why did he I'm like, he's not next to him, and he's not even close the way he's going to turn on the Jets.
You're right. The throw, the dig to him that basically Mahomes puts it right behind the DB's back, and he catches it in full stride.
Gone.
It's crazy, too, because Mahomes is so dang likable, and the brother, could not be more of a nightmare.
They were inverted.
They are inverted. Like if you're Pat, aren't you like, dude?
Yeah. How do you get that
Go
under
away.
control?
Get out of here. Give me a minute to breathe. You suck.
I mean, could
I
you
love you,
imagine
but
being
go
at that
away.
game and having champagne sprayed on you from a luxury booth above you?
No.
I can tell you how it ends.
I know it ended if it was if they got Gibbe. First of all, it's freezing. So you think about getting somebody wet, like you could be
Right.
causing champagne-induced pneumonia.
He's just terrible. And Mahomes is so likable, but
It's-
he's just.
Yeah, I just at
The
some
worst.
point you have to threaten the family with a credential and pass revocation.
I don't think you threaten the Mahomes family with anything.
No.
No,
If you're
Pat-
Patrick
The only one who
Mahomes-
can do it is Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Patrick
Patrick
Mahomes.
If you go viral again, dancing on something or doing this or anything just
Anything
disrespectful or stupid, you're done.
Yeah. Nobody
Yeah,
cares about you,
exactly.
Bob. That's what you say. I'm the dude.
Well,
Okay?
he's probably-
you got a nice little
He's
lifestyle.
floating him for sure.
Oh, well, obviously. Yes. But, like,
I don't know. The guy might
enough.
have like a gajillion followers on TikTok, which would gross me out, but that's where we could be.
I'm not even going to search it because I don't want to be adding to the trending nature of it. Couple of things around the league. Our VP of Football Operations, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, getting a second interview for the Vikings GM job later today and into tomorrow. So big news there. I mean, nothing would surprise me on that front. He's
so good.
awfully impressive.
So they have
that
two.
would
He's
be-
down to the final two. There are two finalists who are both getting second interviews. I don't have the other person's name off the top of my head, but somebody said if they go with Kwesi, it's about process and kind of that modern vision of that running an organization, or they would go more on a traditional kind of a scouting heavy side.
Seems like that's where everybody is, right? You
Right.
pick one of the
One of
other.
those two.
Whoever can marry it, that's when you
That's when you have success.
That's when you're crushing it. The Ravens, shockingly, on Friday firing Wink Martindale. I did not see that one coming.
No, you're
He
left
was
on
really
his
hamstrung.
contract, and I'll tell you, Ravens players seem shocked by it and not happy with it, current and former.
I mean, they were down everybody significant on that side of the ball all year.
Yeah, and they still almost made the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely wild.
I wonder what could that have philosophical differences.
Maybe he couldn't just come up with an extension. They didn't want him to be a lame duck. I don't know. Yeah.
By the way, the other candidate for Vikings GM is Chiefs Director of Player Personnel Ryan Poles.
There
or
you go.
Polis. I don't
Okay.
know what the pronunciation is. I'm sure I screwed it up.
No, but you added value with just bringing. Now we're all in the know.
Now we're in the know.
Yeah.
No coaching hires to this point. The Brian Dable, who's been incredible for Josh Allen, getting a second interview.
He's got to
with the
get a job,
Giants.
right?
Yeah, I'd hire him in Jacksonville.
Same. How is what about Eric Bieniemy? I mean, at some point you got to give that guy a shot. They've only been to the AFC Championship game 4 years
I was
in a row.
thinking about him last night. Like, if you're him and the way that he is obviously beloved and tied to the hip with Mahomes and Reed, do you just wait for Andy to hang up the whistle? I don't know how old Andy Reid is. He's been at it a long time. I mean, it's I don't know what else Andy Reid would do. Like, he's only a football coach, it seems like. But, like, that's a pretty good spot. Whenever that job's open, it's the best job in football. Whenever that job is open, the ability to have Mahomes forever.
Sure.
That's it. So, I don't know. Maybe you sit that one out. I am surprised we haven't had any yet, though, guys. I am. That
Not a single hire.
Meantime, Harbaugh just keeps waiting for somebody to call him.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hey.
I beat Ohio State.
I'm doing squats in
Somebody.
khakis.
Somebody come. All right, we'll play some. This is pretty great. We'll play some of the game-winning radio highlights from around the league, some of the great radio broadcasts of the home team cast. You will have that to look forward to. It is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for Indy East 4th. Excited to be part of the great story of East 4th Street, bringing a music-themed atmosphere with Southern comfort cuisine and a rooftop patio bar to East 4th Street, offering unique menu items paired with barrel-aged cocktails. Brought to you by the owners of Char Whiskey Bar and Grill and Avo Modern Mexican, so you know that the cocktails are going to be perfectly procured here. Indy is hiring. Stop into Indy on East 4th Street to apply. Learn more at Indy East 4th on social for more on that. Gibby, what do you have for us here? This is kind of a treat.
So we went through and with the help of our friends at ESPN Cleveland, I have to shout them out because they got a couple of these for us as well.
That's
but
exciting.
It's all the radio calls, basically the final radio calls. Now I've included from the Packers 49ers, you'll get the 49er call, and then you'll get the Packer call.
Oh, it's going to be sadness.
And the Bills touchdown with 13 seconds left in regulation as well. Compliments of the Bills radio network and John Murphy, the great John Murphy from Buffalo. So
I loved on that throw, too. Did you notice Allen's body language as soon as it left? It's like I think he was stunned that Davis was wide open, and he throws it, and he sees like, oh, my God. Probably just like, oh, my God, please just catch it. And Davis has to be like, oh, my,
there's nobody
I
anywhere.
can't believe how wide open I am. The fourth down throw was such a laser over the middle of the field. It's just ridiculous.
It was. All right, let's start with the Cincinnati's game winner from Evan McPherson. Here's the Bengals radio network.
The snap, the put down, the swing of the right leg.
Yeah, baby.
It's on its way.
Yeah, baby.
It is good.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. That is unbelievable. 54 and 52 at the gun. That is unrealism right there. And the Bengals advance to the Final Four. AFC Championship game, Dan.
the best is not only did he get Lashade, but the guy just took over the call at the end. And Dave Lapham is his name. Great guy. Dan Hort is the play-by-play.
Yeah.
They're both
Yeah, baby.
They're
I
both,
love the yeah, babies.
Bam, bam,
Yeah, baby.
bam. That was good.
Yeah, baby.
They're both exceptional guys. And I know that, when Deke was hanging it up, they both came into the booth and spent about 20 minutes with him.
Yeah.
So they've been doing it for a long – they've seen a lot of bad football. They've seen some good football. Props to them. But
can I get that one more time? I'd like to listen to it one more time. I really enjoyed the
what you should not do to a play-by-play guy in the moment.
I know, but let's hear it again because it's so good.
The snap, the put down, the swing of the right leg.
Yeah, baby.
It's on its way.
Yeah, baby.
It is good. Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. That is unbelievable. 54 and 52 at the gun. That is unrealism right there. And the Bengals advance
I knew there was
to
a
the
lot of
Final Four AFC Championship game, Dan.
That's great.
He's doing it all.
He's
like, I'm doing it all.
Is that how they normally operate, though? Like that way? Like, I wonder if that's their
has
style.
A pretty big say. He's a former player, and he
Yeah.
just kind of rolls with it, and Horde rolls with it more so, I think, than anybody.
That was incredible.
Here is
it was unrealism.
It was unrealism. Here is KNBR Radio.
KNBR, baby.
Out of your
I'm
homeland.
surprised that you.
I'm surprised I didn't have that right off my tongue.
680, yeah, you grew up listening to there. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Here's the Niners game winner from them on the Robbie Gould field goal.
First snap. Is a little high, pulled down by Wisnowski. Robbie Gould has it away, and it is good! Robbie Gould has kicked the 49ers to victory here in Green Bay.
The golden leg of Robbie Gould going to an NFC Championship game.
So who are those guys? Who would that be on the Niners side?
The 49ers voice left the Raiders.
That was Bob Papa.
Yeah.
I thought that was Bob Papa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's Bob Papa.
He ran
Thank
out
you.
a little steam
was
there on the
escaping
Gold.
me.
It was a little cracking.
All right, Bob Papa on the call of that one. So there's Joy.
Greg Papa. Sorry, Greg Papa. Bob Papa is the Giants.
Okay.
Greg Papa.
And now here's Infinite Sadness on WTMJ and the Packers.
It's a snap, high snap, placement made, kick end over end to the uprights, and it is good. The San Francisco 49ers advance.
This is the end of the game.
With a 13-10 victory over the Green Bay Packers on a 45-yard field goal by Robbie Gould. A gut-wrenching, heartbreaking defeat
Wayne Larrabee on the call. He is one of the greatest play-by-play voices in NFL history.
Isn't he the one that broke the news? Was it him or the Vikings guy that broke the – was it the Vikings play-by-play guy? Yeah, he broke the Rodgers news.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Larrabee's a treasure. He's awesome.
Hold on. That was a Deacon-esque grunt that we got there.
That was beyond – that was Deacon on
hell of a
steroids.
groan.
That was a great groan. Really felt his anguish.
You know what? We got a couple more of these to play, but
I wish we had the opposite.
It?
Give me the opposite of give me the win and the loss of all of them.
Thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
That anguish was real.
That anguish was painful.
Play it again. You want to play
that
the
was
anguish?
so painful.
Give me that grunt again.
It's a snap, high snap, placement made, kick end over end to the uprights, and it is good. The San Francisco 49ers advance with a 13-10 victory over the Green Bay Packers on a 45-yard field goal by Robbie Gold.
Incredibly professional.
A gut-wrenching, heartbreaking defeat.
Very professional from the play-by-play
He knew
guy.
to get out of the way. After the groan, he got out of the way.
He didn't say it. It was just a groan.
You're talking about 30 years of Favre, Rodgers, 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And for the first time since the drafting of or the trading of Favre from the Falcons or the drafting of Rodgers, well, even at the drafting of Rodgers, they still had Favre in his prime, true uncertainty with that organization. True uncertainty. 30 years, they haven't had it.
Yep.
7:10 ESPN in L.A. Here is the call on Matt Gay's game-winning field goal to beat Tampa Bay.
With 4 seconds on the clock, will attempt a 30-yard field goal from the left hash. Hits it with the right foot. Kick on its way. It is through. It is good. Matt Gay brings it home. Los Angeles will host the NFC Championship game next Sunday at SoFi Stadium.
Literally tens and
JB Long,
tens and tens of Rams fans lining up to get those seats.
By the way, he had a great rhythmic cadence to his. It was like a couple blocks, but it always crescendo at the end of each little block there.
It would. I think I would have been very curious to hear the call of the pass to Kupp, the disbelief, because think about when you're doing that, how desperate that is.
Oh yeah.
And that moment, and you've just had your heart pulled out because Brady just did what he did, and you got a tie game, you're headed overtime, and then all of it, you're like, it's one of those. It was almost reminding me, the old. Everybody thinks it's a. I don't believe what I just saw. Like, that's really the line. Like, how's that possible?
They're playing cover zero.
What are they doing?
Have a flat-footed safety turning to run with Cooper Kupp right down the middle of the field. Why?
That play, and then the stuff to Kelsey at the end of
regulation,
the field goal, you're like,
bonkers.
Where else is the ball going?
Yes, it's going to
Who
go
else
there.
is going to get the ball?
Right. All right, here is I feel bad for this. I always feel like the Bills are kindred spirits.
The great John Murphy.
John Murphy on the call for the Bills radio network of Allen's touchdown pass with 13
this is
seconds.
the winner in their mind.
This is the game winner.
Yes.
Have a listen.
1st and 10 from the Kansas City 19-yard line. Josh takes a shotgun snap, looks, steps up, has time, fires to the end zone. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. The Bills get the lead back again. Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
He never even said it was a touchdown. He didn't say it was caught. Nothing. He said, are you kidding me?
Just the guy chuckling because he thinks that we got it. We've done it. Isn't that crazy? 13 seconds left. Impossible. But possible with Patrick Mahomes. So here's 106.5, the Wolf out of Kansas City with Mahomes to Kelsey.
This is Mitch Holthus, the longtime voice of the Chiefs.
With the call for the game winner.
36-36 tie in overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go. Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking. Right side he wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. One of the greatest duos in the history of the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelsey on a push fade comeback. And the Chiefs have won this incredible divisional playoff game in overtime.
That's great.
He was trademark.
Fantastic.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
I like that.
That was
Yeah.
good.
Crazy.
The other guy may not have even been there. We don't know.
No, we don't know.
Not in that
We don't
clip.
know. Yeah.
The Bills?
No, the
KC
Chiefs,
one.
The Chiefs color guy.
Yeah.
No audio supported.
Stay out of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. just
Rule
let it
number
breathe.
1.
That's right.
Is that a radio? That's a radio play-by-play moment. Is that's interesting? I grew up obviously mostly in watching these games on television, and I've enjoyed the hell out of listening. Driving around to you guys this fall, driving around to events and stuff, and hearing the incredible chemistry you guys have. But most of the play-by-play that I think of has been done in the television medium as opposed to I'm more used to the television medium side of it. There's AB right there. But that's
radio
it. Stay out of it. Yeah.
Is 100% or 99% the play-by-play guy's world, whereas TV is much more built around the analyst. Of course, you have tremendous play-by-play calls.
Yeah, right.
Buck did a great job, but it's the analyst game, whereas radio is the play-by-play guy's game, which is why we're so lucky that we've got Jim Donovan. When I got to do my one game in London, that's the first thing that he said to me, and Deke sent me a very nice text, and basically was like, "Stay out of his way."
Yeah,
let him do his thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's so much too in football to describe. You're talking 1,000 miles an hour.
Well, right. He's got to paint the picture.
Paint every picture. It's a constant. You're constantly
setting,
talking.
Right.
You
the formation. Right. You have a few seconds to kind of get in, make your point, and then you got to get it back to him so that he can.
Think about Paul Keels and the game winner against the U to win the national championship in 2002. Like,
I love.
What do you remember? Remember Lachey just losing his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the deal.
That's why you said he got Lachey.
Don't get Lachey. And I love Jim Lachey. He's a treasure.
He is. Good St. Henry boy. Buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, they're always going to have you covered, always going to have a winning strategy. If you plan to move this season, they'll take care of you. At Howard Hanna, every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/GoBrowns today for more. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Do you know what 111 billion is? Does that mean anything to you?
A lot.
That's the money from last March that the NFL negotiated with for the rights packages. It's 111 billion. So this year it's 250 million a team will be distributed based on what this league delivered this week. Chump change, baby. Wait till these ratings come in. This
is the
only
number
thing left.
one property in the world, period.
Period.
Fiend.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's the number one.
And second might as well be 40th, as I like to say.
The only thing I wonder about is like English Premier League rights.
Sure.
Like
over there.
But in the individual country, there can be nothing that matches it. It's impossible to have anything that matches it.
Weren't 91 of the top 100 shows of the year football?
Yeah. So it was a long time coming. You think about Rozelle and everybody when they built this league. You think about the cap. You think about everybody being 8-8, everybody being competitive. You have a 4 seed playing a 6. What are the Niners? The 6?
Yep.
4 and a 6 in the NFC. And you got a 2.
No, the Niners played the Cowboys. So, yeah, they were the 6, right?
Yeah.
2 and 4 for the Bengals. Yeah.
4 and then 2 and 4
in the NFC.
Yeah. And you got every game decided on the last play. Not going to do better. Going to be a fun week, obviously. The next level coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Don't be an odd seed.